Hello, welcome to Financially Savvy in 20 Minutes. I have a special guest today. We're actually recording this in downtown LA, as you can see from the background if you're watching this on YouTube. But this person is someone that I hold dear to me, and we'll tell the story of how we actually met, but this is why I stress to people that watch your social media, because people that you might not know are actually watching you. But I wanted to showcase her on this particular podcast because not only is she a successful engineer, she sits on multiple boards, she obviously cares about her community, she's a mom, a wife, and really just a badass lady who's doing amazing things in our community. And this is what this podcast is about talking about financial literacy, about making the right money moves, and more importantly, how is it that we're leaving on for the generations to come. So with little less of an introduction, you can say, she's going to talk more about herself. Miss Melissa.demirci, who I am so honored to be a part of her, what we call our tribe of women that talk about our work experiences, our frustrations, and we all need that because we all need to make sure we have someone that's reminded, like, hey, you can do this, you can do it, and she's definitely been one of those people for me. So thank you for being part of this podcast.
I don't even know what to say.
It's wonderful to be able to, and this is her first podcast.
It is, so bear with me.
And I wanted to mention that because the fact that you've been around you're involved in so many different organizations, and I have to tell people how you reached out to me.
Instagram. So we were so honored that you actually were the keynote speaker for the Commerce Industrial Council's Women's event, and it was very inspiring. It was incredible. And I remember we were looking for speakers, and we were like, how do you find a speaker? We're like Googling, and I just happened to come across you on Instagram.
Wow.
And then I messaged you while we were at a board meeting. I was like, I'm just going to message you, and obviously it's a room filled with men and stuff. They're like, what? Instagram? And then you replied when I hooked you up with the director, and we were just so honored. You did amazing.
Thank you so much. It was a beautiful event, and it was a women in business luncheon.
Annual. So next year we'll have it again.
Yeah. So you could check out the video too for the keynote. It's amazing what this chamber has been doing, and so I always find it funny, and I tell people, watch what you say on Instagram or what you post.
Yeah.
And she was so casual about it, and I'm like, is this the real? And I was
this is the real.
like, sure. And then I recognized the chamber, so I was like, okay, this isn't near my hometown, and so I'm really grateful. So I wanted to start off with the first question because we've had these conversations about money.
Yes.
I know most women sometimes feel very nervous because our culture teaches us not to talk about money, but you and I are like, no, we need to.
Yes.
Especially if we want to make more of it, we want to make sure we teach others to do the same. Can you remember the first time that you got paid, whether it was at your 9 to 5? But what was that feeling for you?
Oh my gosh. So this is so funny. I'm not counting the little odd-end babysitter jobs because that's not really significantly that I remember.
Okay, yeah.
The biggest one was I applied to be a camp counselor at an English program in Turkey.
Awesome.
It was for a summer. I had no connection. It wasn't like this person knew this person to get me in. I just on my own merit applied. I got the job. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is my first official job. I was 19 years old, so it was the summer it was the summer, 18, it was the summer before my freshman year in college. So I just graduated high school, and it was literally wild. I ended up going to Turkey, being a camp counselor, and teaching the students English. It was a 8-week program. Okay. Mind you, I only got paid $400, which is nothing.
Yeah,
I know.
This was a while ago, so
nothing, but it was all cash, and they had given us the cash in the middle of the program. I just didn't have a bank account there.
Okay.
And I had left $400 cash inside of my bag. We were staying in the dorms of this campus.
Oh no.
And it actually ended up getting stolen. And it was so devastating because it was that high of getting paid, the high of getting your first job, and then getting that $400 stolen.
Wow.
And obviously this is was a little bit of a non-profit type of organization where they didn't have the money. Oh, we got stolen. Let me repay it. I was the only one in that boat. But it taught me 2 things. One, take ownership of things that you have.
Yes.
Don't assume that everybody's necessarily going to be honest. And, be protective of the money that you earn. Be selective about what you spend it on, where you keep it, who you entrust with it. And even though this was obviously out of our hands. And it also was just the best experience to get the job on my own and then get paid.
Yeah.
Even though it got taken away.
But you know, and look in hindsight, I like how you're saying it, you learn two things from that, because you hear the stories all the time from people and they're like, thousands was stolen or something. And you know, especially I think if it's like that, if you didn't have a bank account, and we come across that, especially in LA, a lot of people, right?
And it was because I was in Turkey too.
Yeah.
I do have a bank account, but it was like, where was I gonna?
Exactly. Yeah. But I love that you're like, it was an experience, and obviously you have that on your resume. The fact that you did it before starting college, what a cool experience to tell people as a freshman when everyone's feeling already nervous about.
And they actually changed their policy. It was a big deal.
Wow.
So I think the next year, the next year they ended up doing like, do you have a bank account? How do you want to get paid?
Smart. Okay.
So this doesn't happen again.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So it turned out
some good came out of it.
Yes.
And it's that sometimes I always think back of like times when I've lost money and you're like, oh my God. But then you look back, you're like, oh, at least it was just this amount, and you learn from it, right? And I hear so many horror stories of people, and I think it comes after you just said the respect for money.
Yes.
Because when I tell people, cash your check right away, or when you give someone money too, I hope they cash it within a week. Because we keep track of that as well. And if they haven't cashed it, you're like waiting for this to leave, and you forget sometimes. You have to make sure you're keeping track of everything. So it's the respect that we have for money.
And the money that you're given versus money that you're earned, that money, the value of that is so different. When you are given $1,000, let me go buy a bag.
Yeah.
When you earn $500, you kind of think twice.
Yes. Oh yeah, exactly. And you know, this is a great question to follow up, because now we're living in this age of virtual. Everything is virtual, and I fear more for the youth generation, because
Amazon Prime.
gosh, and they're on campuses now. You know, online shopping is so easy, and now it's like you have all these different apps to pay through cash, and so I know that's a difficult thing for them to keep a track of. And it's just kind of, you just said, it's easier to depart from $1,000 online as opposed to $1,000 hard-earned cash that you paid for. So just kind of having that kind of mind. So for you, as being an engineer, especially, we know there's very few women in an engineering field. That means you're usually the only woman, right, in the room, in the conference.
There's more now. I'm very happy.
Oh yeah, me too. There's more women. But we still see that we need that representation. And in California now we see, thank God for all these new changes in laws where we're going to see more women on boards, being able to speak for the community, which is excellent. But for you, did you have any mentors or people in your life that had influenced you to not only pursue engineering, but to do well in your career, which you have?
I mean, I think it's really twofold. It's kind of, I have two types of mentors. One of them, obviously, my parents were huge mentors. So my dad is a civil engineer. So there was a lot of influence. You should be into engineering, you know, you should do engineering. So I really had that academic support, that my dad did that. He was going to guide me, he was going to show me, he was going to push me. But engineering is really hard. And there was a moment actually that I changed my major that I can get into later. And I had a mentor who was my peer, who was one of my best friends, is still my best friend, maid of honor, Rafaela. She and, you know, we entered the program together, and I really credit a lot of us graduating the civil engineering program because we had each other. And it goes back to like finding that mentor, finding that buddy, finding that woman to help you through. And I think we were two girls in civil engineering. There was predominantly men, and it was challenging to get through the academics of it, and having her as my kind of each other's cheerleaders throughout, it motivated us. Like, okay, let's make sure we get classes together. What can we do together? Because at the end of the day, engineering specifically, it's about teamwork. It's about working together. And we really leaned on each other, and she kind of served as my mentor. And there was mentors along the way in different classes, that people that maybe it's seasonal mentors, that you needed them, they needed you in that moment of time.
I don't need to jump. I love how you say seasonal, because it's true. I think sometimes people are like, I want a mentor, but they don't have time for me. I'm like, well, your mentors will come in and out, right? And seasonal can be literally just a season, or maybe a couple meetups, and that's it. But it's crucial that you identified that, and the fact that you had a colleague who was one of your best friends now. I think as women, I always see, especially I see women of color or just any. I'm like, we need to bond with any women that we see that's going to lift us up in our career, right?
Absolutely.
That's cool. And I'm glad you said your dad had that too, because I know a lot of women sometimes say, my dad wasn't supportive in this sense, or maybe had a different view of my life for me. And for me, I came from the same, I'm like, my dad was very like I expect you to have your career, I expect you to do well and all these things before you, if you decide to settle down. And I'm like, how cool is that? I didn't have to worry about, I got married, right?
It's so, my mom and dad, they were like, they are my cheerleaders, Anytime if I step out, my mom immediately, Melissa, get back on track. They guide me always.
Yes, and now you have 2 little ones, so how do you balance, because I know a lot of our listeners are, whether they're entrepreneurs or successful in their own careers, they worry about not balancing my life. And so how do you juggle, and I say juggle because I think that's what women do, but how do you juggle your 2 little ones and work and also the work that you do for nonprofit work?
I think what's helped me is to be in the moment that you're in that moment. So there are so many stresses. There are so many things on your to-do list that you need to do by 6, that you need to do tomorrow. But when you're doing that one item in that moment, be 100% engaged in that moment. And it's hard to do. It's taken a lot of practice on my end to almost like I always get messed up the word compartmentalize.
Compartmentalize.
Thank you. What you're doing, So for example, right now I'm not with my kid. My daughter's in school, my son, I have a nanny who watches my son, and as much as I want to be there right now, I know that they're in good hands. I know they're being taken care of, and I'm enjoying this moment with you.
I love that.
So it's really important to focus on what the task is in front of you instead of getting overwhelmed, because if you start thinking of all of the things you're not doing, what you need to be doing, that's kind of where you have a breakdown. And that happened to me in college. I had a breakdown.
Can we talk about that? Okay. Because I love that you share that, because a lot of us go through something like that, and we feel society has a stigma of a financial breakdown. So if you can share a little bit about that, because I would have never guessed that. For you saying that, and for people that don't, I know you, and I'm just like, it's good to hear.
Yes.
Oh my God, you're a real person that has had something happen to you. So
life can be very stressful. So when I was around 21, I was in the civil engineering degree, and this taught me so many life lessons. Is I was taking a course that was difficult, and I was so afraid of failing. Like, I did not want to fail at all. Like, I can't fail. I need to keep my GPA up. I was in that mentality. And the only way that I could actually drop that class without having a record of it was if I changed my major. And it was seasonal, right? It was in that moment I wanted to make a change. I didn't want to have this class, so I went. And I actually, in one day, I walked in as a civil engineering major, and they changed my major to communications.
Wow.
I was able to drop the class. Literally the next day, I was like sick to my stomach with, what did I just do? Just because I had a moment of kind of being overwhelmed in my degree in this class, I made a pretty significant change.
Right.
So I said, it's okay. Let me, I don't think this is for me. I really tossed and turned about it for a couple weeks, and I was like, I want to change it back. I don't feel right. I sold myself short.
Right.
I need it, but also they were like, oh, come on, why? So they were kind of encouraging me, don't do that, don't give up, And Rafaela, my mom, my dad, all of them also the same thing. Like, are you sure this is what you want to do? If you want to do this, we'll support you, but are you sure? And I wasn't sure. So I went back and I was like, I want to change my major back. I had to reapply into the civil engineering program.
Oh, no.
Because it was an impacted major, it was a process. Right. And I was still able to take my civil courses. Okay. Because I had already done all the prereqs.
Luckily. Yeah.
So I would go into, for example, the highest level math, and it would say communications. What are you doing in this class? And so it took 2 quarters. At the time, Cal Poly was quarter system. For me to get back into the civil engineering program.
This is a good, that's a great example for people that are in school or going back to school, because that is a key. I know a lot of, luckily for me, when I got in as a business major, but I know a lot of people wanted to get into business and they weren't accepted, so they picked another program and eventually applied while they're in that school. So it's a good trick.
So it happens.
So I came in as you want to come back and someone else already took your spot. So it's a learning experience, but you had the support system, which is huge. And then also you knew yourself enough that you weren't beating yourself up so much. And I understand the mental breakdown comes from you're already oh my God.
It's so many lists. It's just one day, one thing at a time. You can't conquer the world.
And it is a life lesson. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that, halfway through, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed. You're like, oh my God. There's days where I'm like, is this ever going to end? And then 2 days later, it's like a complete different day.
So true.
Right? So I think that's valuable for people that are hearing. And obviously you've had the mentorships, you've had the classes that have allowed you to, it's part of your career.
Yes,
I understand the kind of that failure part where you're like, I've been doing this for so long, I don't want to switch now, right? And for you, obviously, you've been in this career for what, more than a decade? So
right around a decade, yes.
Yeah, time flies, and I think it's also the beautiful thing that you can always reinvent yourself or shift a little.
Yes.
What is it? Success isn't a straight line, right?
Exactly.
It's like this wiggle.
And to always sleep on decisions.
I like that. Yeah, don't make
your initial reaction may change in 24 hours.
Exactly. I hear people all the time like, oh, I quit school and that was it. I had the same. I'm like, I'm out, and then I'm like, what did I do? Go back.
Yes,
right? So I think it's really helpful. Well, to end the question, if there is any, I'd love to have you back first of all. There's so much we can talk about.
I would love to.
If there is maybe a few resources or tools or books that you've read that really have impacted your life, about not just making more money, but becoming a better person, is there a couple that stick out? Or
I mean, not tools, but I guess advice that I've learned along the way is I think that there are so many hardworking people in this world. And sometimes it's being at the right place at the right moment and luck that brings you to that next level. But along the way, people that I've seen in those positions, the one thing that everyone, including myself, and you have in common is the people. I think knowing people, connecting with people, being kind, respectful, understanding, patient, that communication with people I think is key to a lot of success. And kind of those are the people that also help you get far. You know, if somebody's coming nasty at you, you respond with calm collectedness, and a lot of the times, especially in business, it really eases over any issues that may happen. I think the people factor is the key, at least personally for me, to my success.
For any industry, so this, everyone can apply to them, and I think you're right on, because I think half of the time we forget when we need something or when we need to provide something for someone, it's just being able to communicate that. So I could have seen you as a communication major.
A little bit.
You never know, but definitely want to have you back. And also let you know that we're going to be hosting an event here too, so I'm really excited about it in November. Women make it, well, it's actually anybody, but it's really going to be catered for women, making money moves with millionaires. So being able to have a host fireside chat with a self-made millionaire, and being able for women to get to meet you, whether it's virtually online or any of the iTunes or Spotify that people can hear you. I think not only you probably having someone in their literally in their car thinking, I was about to quit grad school or engineering. So now this is something that can allow them. And I think that's the most beautiful part about this type of platform, that you're surprised when people reach out and say, oh my God, this is what I needed to hear. And so thank you for being a part of this.
Amazing for doing this. I mean, I love you. Seriously.
Likewise. And so please stay tuned. And if you have any questions for her, how is the best way that people can?
You can email me. I don't know if you link or how it is. melissa.demirci@transtech.org.
Awesome.
I welcome emails. I can be your seasonal mentor or lifetime mentor, whatever you want.
Hey, right here. So thank you so much.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you at the next one at Financially Savvy.